Good afternoon and welcome to KNXT's live coverage of the Pope's visit to America. And today we've got lots of things to tell you about. I'm Colin Doherty and Rosa Maria Henry is with me, a familiar face, familiar name, and Monsignor Ray Dreiling is with us, the Vicar General of the Diocese of Fresno. And Monsignor, we want to find out you had a chance to watch the Pope's and listen to the Pope's message today to Congress and probably listen to what he said to the bishops yesterday. So what's your analysis here?
Well, analysis, well, first of all, this trip has been incredibly powerful, starting with the opening in the White House and going through the whole day. But I got up real early this morning and watched the Pope's speech to Congress. I was struck by the fact that everybody was on their best behavior. You know, Congress can be a little rowdy sometimes, and but they were all on their best behavior. But the message of the Pope's message today was incredibly broad in its scope, but at the same time very pointed in its message. And he called for dialogue, and that's the key, I think, to understanding what this Holy Father is all about. He is one who doesn't come down and say, I'm here and I'm going to be teaching you, I'm going to tell you what to do. Rather, he says, and he opened his speech up this morning with the idea, I'm here to dialogue with you about certain important issues that are facing not only this country, but the entire world. And I want to open the door of dialogue. You may not, he didn't say this, but implied is, you may not agree with what I have to say, but at least we can talk about it. And isn't that a wonderful message for us, for all of us? Because even within the church, we don't agree on everything, but we don't have to be enemies. We don't have to put ourselves in boxes and say, this person is this way and that person is the other way, and we're not going to talk to each other. Rather, what the Pope is inviting us to do is to open up the opportunity to say, okay, let's talk about it and see how we might find common ground.
Mm-hmm. Did you get a chance to listen to his presentation to the bishops the day before?
I did. I watched that, the full, and I saw Bishop yes, Armando right there. And the camera kind of zoomed in, and I'm saying, well, I wonder if KNXT got a little word in there.
Yes, so, we did.
But we saw our bishop among the many prelates that were there. He was he was much more on target with the bishops than he was with Congress. Of course, Congress was is a political venue, whereas with the bishops, he was talking to them as a brother bishop. Mm-hmm. He was saying to the bishops, be close to your people. The people they're your sheep. And it's not a put down, it's just saying this is who they are. Be close to your people. And what really, being a former vocation director for the Diocese of Fresno, I heard very clearly his call to the bishops to please, form the new priests coming up, to understand their role, not as rulers or kinds of princes within their parishes, but as pastors, people who will answer that phone at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to the hospital to give the sacraments, and not to resent that. That's part of who you are as a priest. Yeah. And so he encouraged the bishops to please work with the seminaries, work with the formation teams around the country to form priests that are in the heart and the mind of Christ.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know, of course, there'll be a lot coming out next week. Have you had a chance to talk to Bishop Ochoas and see, was there yesterday? And he relay anything to you on that?
No, I didn't talk to him. He's made calls to the office, but of course Mary is the one who gets those calls. But no, I haven't talked to him directly, and I hope that when he comes home, we'll have a chance to dialogue and to reflect.
And of course, Monday morning, he's going to do a press conference.
Yes, yes.
And
that's going to be kind of an overview of the Pope's visit to the United States, and we're looking forward to that very much.
Right. We're going to broadcast, of course, that live here on KNXT, and we will play it again that night, Monday night, too. So people have plenty of time to listen to the bishops analysis, interpretation, etc., of what happened with the Pope.
Keeping in mind that he's only going to be at the situation in Washington. He's not going to Philadelphia or New York. But I mean, obviously, we can see that right here on KNXT live.
Right,
you know,
we will be. Well, we thank you very much for taking the time to come over and talk to us. I know you're a busy man these days. You're directing the ship right now while the Pope's away.
Yes,
I mean, the bishop's away.
I'm doing a lot of interviews these days. You know, a lot of people. And that's a good point. A lot of people are very interested in this Pope's visit to the United States, and not only Catholics, but many non-Catholic people are expressing their thrill about the Pope being here and his message to the people of the United States. So it's really encouraging. I'm very proud to be part of the Catholic Church. You know, we have a great community, and we just need to learn how we can dialogue with one another, keep the bridges open rather than closing the doors. And in that way, we can really grow as a community. And I believe that KNXT is one of those bridges that can keep the door of dialogue open, to be able to hear the message live of the Pope right here in the United States, but in any case, keeping those doors open and the bridges open, that the Pope uses that image. He used that image at Congress this morning. He says, I am called to be a bridge builder. That's what my title is. He's called Supreme Pontiff. Pontiff gets its root from the Latin word pons, which means bridge in Latin. And so he is the supreme bridge builder for Christians throughout the world.
Now, next week, of course, we're going to be broadcasting all of the events again from this week in evening time. And you want to, I know, get parishes together, groups in parishes, to sit down, listen, and of course discuss things.
Yes, and there's a concerted effort throughout the diocese to try to get people to sit down, listen to what the Pope has to say, not to hear the talking heads and the others tell us what they think the Pope is saying, but to listen clearly to what the Pope is saying and have an opportunity to reflect about it, to pray about it. What is the Pope really saying, and having the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and then to find ways in which we can put that thought, that prayer into action in our local communities. And so we're really encouraging that parishes or individuals or neighborhoods would invite folks in and listen to the Pope's message, and to be able to reflect on it and then act upon it. Right. And of course, in the future, it's a big challenge, but I think it's a way that we can unite ourselves with the message of the Holy Father. The other one is we're encouraging people to create groups that walk a journey called the Encounter with Pope Francis, and this is being discussed and shared throughout parishes. Some parishes have already begun it, and it's a 6-session encounter with the Holy Father, listening to his words, and then finding ways of getting involved in making our world a little bit better because of our connection with the Holy Father, of course, leading us to Christ. Right.
Well, we'll start this next week, too. Of course, all this week, as you know, we're rebroadcasting everything that's happening during the day that evening. But starting next Monday, we will start the entire series all over again, listening to the Pope's message to the bishops, to the Congress, and to the United Nations, and his other presentations that he has.
I would just encourage people, if they can, have the time, to focus in on the United Nations talk, and also the one he's going to be giving to the prisoners in Philadelphia. That's going to be, I'm sure, a very emotional but also very powerful speech. Now, all of them have been emotional and powerful. I noticed the Speaker of the House today rubbing his eyes. He took out his handkerchief and rubbed his eyes and blew his nose a couple of times because he's a very emotional man. But this has to be one of the pinnacles of his career. But I was sitting in front of the TV watching KNXT this morning, the speech, and I have to admit I was wiping my eyes a couple of times. The Pope's message was so powerful and so moving. It was incredibly powerful.
Well, we're looking forward to it, and of course, in the coming weeks, what we really find out and what moves the diocese, things that will change, I'm sure, and you'll keep us informed on that.
Things coming up. The Year of Mercy is just around the corner, and of course that's one of the big words the Holy Father is using in all of his talks and all of his presentations. So keep that on the calendar. The Year of Mercy starts on the 8th of December.
Great, and we will be there with all things from the Pope, and of course everything that we can produce here at the diocese to extend to our viewing audience.
Great.
Thank you for being with us. I know you've got a busy day, and we'll let you go.
Yes.
But don't forget to come back some other time.
You bet, you bet. And thank you for everything. And thank you for the opportunity of extending the Pope's message to the entire diocese.
Great.
Thank you.
We can do that.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay.
Take care.
Msgr.
What we want to do right now